Welcome, people. I see you. I see you. Hello, hello, hello. Big up yourself, Vanessa. Big up yourself, Suzette. Big up yourself, Dawn. I see you, Dion. I see you, Professor Gorgeous Lady. I see you, Joni Bulla. I see you, Drea 1969. Big up yourself. Where are the rest of my wrenches? We are gonna need them tonight, before my go down tonight. Where are the rest of my wrenches? Let me go over so and tag the people. Hold on 1 second there. Let me go over so and tag the people because I don't see them. That's not good. That's not a good look. Where is everybody else? 1 second. Let me tag them. Hold on there. All right, let me tag Norma. Tag her. Nice. Okay. Let me make this in my face for a little bit before I get started. Last time I couldn't make this in my face, come with the dentist. How is everybody doing? How is everybody doing? Big up on a nice, clean self. Welcome to Head Teacher K Speaks. If you are new to the channel, please like, share, and subscribe. You are always welcome on this platform. You know how we do. We keep things respectful over here, even though we are going to be talking about some stuff on social media. We try our best not to be, disrespectful in the comments, particularly towards other social media personalities, right? Be careful not to call names unless I call those names. Do not introduce any new names into the chat. Keep up with the topic and do not stray from the topic. You understand? Yeah, that is how we're gonna do it. So let me just double check that I haven't missed anybody in the chat. Professor Gorgeous Lady, long time no see. Big up your nice clean self. Let's see, Joan Foster. Hello, good evening. Lornette Powell, good evening. June Sundak, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Suzette, hey girl, how are you doing? I am doing great. Georgia Williams, how are you doing? So, I am sure you've all been observing the same things I've been observing on social media for the past few days. It has been an interesting ride. We're not going to touch on the declarations and the things that were said, but we're going to talk a bit more generally about this whole thing about alliances being formed on social media, right? Now, I am certain that you know within yourself that there are a variety of alliances all over social media. The question is, are alliances good or are alliances a bad thing on social media? Now, I'm going to say something in that my perspective has changed considerably since I started blogging. At first, when I came out here, I was like, listen, no, I am not going to be on any side. I'm going to be completely, objective. I'm going to be unbiased as much as possible, even though I have my personal biases. And truth be told, after a period of time, I have to reflect on the fact that, you know what? I am not always going to be objective because sometimes being objective is not called for. There are times when you have to literally come down on one side based on the things that you're observing on social media. And being objective is more or less not hitting the nail on the head. So I said to myself, you know what? There are going to be times when I'm going to come out blazing with my own biases and my own prejudices, and people are just going to have to deal with it. But I have to make it clear then that that's my opinion. That's what I think. Right? And then there are going to be times when I'm going to try and split things down the middle, look at things objectively, because the topic or the subject demands that. Now, I've been observing some of the social media personalities around here for some time. Because for those of you who are aware, I have been on social media for years. May not have been on YouTube, but I've been around for a very long time. And I've been observing. And one of the things that I find absolutely ridiculous is the fact that people do things and then hide their hands. They go out here, they create havoc, and then pretend as though they're not doing anything. 1 minute, they're all about the fact that they're being victimized. Another minute, then they're saying, they're going after people and they're being the biggest cyber bullies that you can ever imagine. And I can never understand that kind of mindset, right? Now, I know that when I mess with somebody, I mess with them. You understand? And me never ever back down and say me never do it. So if I know, say, you see that person, then me deliberately ruffle your feathers. I know why I'm doing it, and I know that I've done it, and I take accountability for the fact that I've done it. But so many of these social media personalities do not take accountability for the fact that they've done stuff, and things end up happening as a result. They cry cyberbullying, they cry the fact that they're victims, but they never ever say, you know what, I actually had a hand to play in what's taking place. Which is why I said that there are certain people that I will never come out here and defend. Because over time, I've observed you. And I've seen the things that you have done on social media that has resulted in a whole bunch of alliances being formed against you. But let's not be fooled. Because even though there are social media alliances being formed against you, without a doubt, you have also formed social media alliances too. Yes, you formed social media alliances too. Right, I don't want to miss any of the comments, so let me go through it. Hold on a second. Who else have I missed? Who else have I missed? Looking young, fresh, and beautiful head teacher. Thank you very much, Journey. Rowena, good afternoon. Hyacinth, good afternoon. Now, I want to tell me this. Can you honestly say that alliances on social media is not a necessary thing? Because when you are out here in these social media streets by yourself, that is when you tend to become a victim. That is when people will come and take liberties and steps with you. Either that they're taking steps with your content because you are not allied with anyone who can point it out and say, listen, your content's being stolen and used here, there, and everywhere. Or it is that people decide to use you as the brunt of their jokes. And when you become the brunt of the joke, then you essentially turn out being some kind of meme on social media because there's nobody out there to counteract it. When you're not in an alliance on social media, you are isolated and often targeted. Now listen carefully to what I'm saying. If it is that you decide that, listen, me not in a no camp, me not in a no crew, you will often end up becoming a target. Now, this is not the case when you are not operating within the Jamaican diaspora. And I'm going to be very specific because we're people very terrible. This is not the case when we are operating outside of the Jamaican diaspora, particularly outside of popular sections of the Jamaican diaspora on social media. If you are operating on social media, you are going to either decide that you're going to talk about things to do with Jamaica, or you're going to talk about things to do with the Jamaican music, Jamaican culture, or you're going to talk about Jamaican personalities that are trending. You can choose to stick to entertainment artists, or you can start to talk about all those other characters who are personable within the social media settings. And when you decide that you are going to touch on social media popular personalities, that's when the bangarang starts. Because you're either for or you're against. You can't be in between. Anybody who tries to be in between is eventually sucked into being on one side or the other. And if you're not on one side or the other, people start to spin all kind of narratives to say that you are not on a side. All right, that was the introduction. No mega going it. Because I have a gripe. Yeah, I have a gripe. Lord Jesus, HDK, we are going to know. Anyway, I have a gripe. And my gripe is this. You see what going on right now around T lady? You see what going on right now around that lady? I am not going to defend or come out and say that what is going on is bullying and it shouldn't be done, but I'm not going to do it. And you know why I'm not going to do it? Nor am I going to come out here and say that Kingston 13 need to give with proof or evidence. I'm not going to say that neither. It's not the court of law. But I'm going to say what I know. That a lot of us on here have fallen victim to certain personalities around this woman that's being manipulated and spearheaded by her. By her alliances, who are going out of their way to target people on social media to make their lives uncomfortable. I'm going to tell you that even if you give any kind of inkling that you are in support of a lady who live in Mountain View, you automatically fall under that umbrella of people that she wants to upset. And it may not be direct. It may be the case that she chooses some weak and feeble-minded fools on social media who are looking for a come-up, and she uses them in order to carry out her dirty work. A lot of us, including myself, have experienced exactly this. Some of these little hurry come up social media people where I try boss and trying to do that by going after or attacking people who are supposedly either against her or against 33 times or for 33 times 3. These people come out and they do the most. Yes. And they're cheered on by people who are directly affiliated with this woman. I am not ready to show you my evidence yet, but it's coming. I'm not ready to show you every little thing yet, but it's coming. And this is why, where I am concerned, why I don't come out here and deep up underneath that some of these people were busy upon my name constantly, because really and truly I could rip you apart by the things I have to say. But I'm not going to do it because I realize that you're a little puppet, soft in the head. As Kingston 13 referred to you, half dunce. But me, I gotta say, fully dunce. So because I know that you're fully dunce and your head's soft, and you're really just being puppeteered by somebody who thinks they're a mastermind, I am just going to strike you and nothing else whenever you use my face or my contents. Other than that, you're going to run up and down and make all of the noise you want because you really are insignificant in the scheme of things. I genuinely believe that what was said where you're concerned is accurate. And that tea lady have you a spin like a gig. Because whatever dirty work she can't do herself, she sends out little minions like you. And this is how she works on social media. And I have the proof to show that she's fueling your fire. But I don't ready feet yet. But it's coming. And that's the only reason why I don't come out here and rip you a new one. And really and truly, I am a very typical Taurus. I can't be bothered with the internet battle. I'd really and truly like to buck you in a real life and see how your tune change. And that's not me chucking badness. That's facts about who I am. Because me can't bother with the back and forth and the nonsense. But all I'm saying is that we have to be wise to the thing. The reason why a lot of these alliances end up being built is because of the dirty works of others that's taking place on social media. Right? Because of the dirty works of others taking place on social media. If you do not have a counteraction, these people will get away with a lot of mess. And it's all about tearing down the support network that this woman has that they despise so much. And I see it as clear as day, particularly now. At first, I didn't. At first, I was like, no way, can't be so. But now that I'm in it, I see it. They go out of their way to ensure that anyone who may be a stronghold, may be some kind of element of support, may be somebody that can help her to grow even more, they come with small, small pecks and attacks with the intention of wearing down your spirit and stopping you from being that support. And the weak amongst us, because there are some bloggers out here with a lot of noise who are weak, and they will fall to it and then start screaming, oh, I'm being objective and no. You've been manipulated and influenced because the pressure got to you. You understand? And they love it when you're being disrespectful towards that lady. They love it. And they hate it when they find or come across one that is not doing that, even when that one is telling that person that she's not doing the right thing and calling her out, but yet she's not calling her out of her name. And that them I like. Because then it's like, you're biased. Because me not tell a woman no dirty bad word. I mean not dip up under her. I mean not tell her some nasty words, which is what you would really like for me to do. She tell her say she wrong, but she go around the thing. She be too nice about it. Which is why I said that I will never be where Una Ina. You understand? And these alliances have to be formed in order to counteract some of the crap that some of you insist on putting out there. You insist on putting out nonsense lies. So you see, if Kingston 13 a tell lie, a lie for lie. That may have to tell you. You see, if what Kingston 13 has can be proven, tough. Tough. Tough is what I have to say. Because some of you may not be directly out there lying on people and saying messy things, but you are sending out your minions to do the same. And if that is the case, which I have also now proven that it is the case, that you're sending out your little minions to tell lies and to cause all kind of problem, then quite frankly, if any narrative is spun about you, I could not care less. Yeah, that may I say. That may I say. I'm not going to be out here talking about truth and justice and what is right and what is wrong when your behaviors are so wrong. When everything that you're doing behind closed doors is so messy and dirty and low. It is more than deserved. So while it is that Kingston 13 and me and a friend, and trust and believe me not beg none, I'm just going to observe and laugh. Yeah, I am just going to observe and laugh and be entertained. Because I know what you guys are doing behind closed doors. I am aware of some of the messy things led by T-Lady that is taking place behind closed doors. And don't think when I come, I'm not going to come with my facts, because that is what I'm known for. And I'm going to point it right out so there will be no question about what I know. Some are only out here too disgusting. And it's all because y'all don't want this lady to have any support out here in this social media street. You don't want her to have any support. You want to isolate her so that we can continuously, viciously go after this woman. So you see a little mongrel where you send out T-Lady. Remember, so the two are living at the same place. Right? And you well know that it can be far worse for her than it will be for you. If I decide to put my money where my mouth is and slap her with a kiss. But hello, she broke. So I never know what the point. But you know that you're sending out your little stupid minions, your little semi-literates who can't even form a word correctly with their speech impediments, to create havoc on social media. So this is why alliances are necessary. Because you throw your hand and then cry victim. Cheers. Right, so let me see some of the comments to make sure that I'm not missing anything. I believe everything that 13 said. Behavior is disgusting. Correct. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely disgusting. You know, and this is the thing. It's done very subtly and very strategically, people. It's very strategic. And they do use the weakest and the most feeble individuals on social media in order to do their dirty work. That's what they do. They specialize in that. Right? They see somebody who is wanting to be accepted, clearly mentally weak, emotionally broken and fragmented, and they want to be accepted, and they want to be in a team, and they want to be on a side, and they want to be, you know, seen. So they see those ones and they realize that they can capitalize on such personalities and they can manipulate such personalities, plant seeds. And they may not do it directly, but they send out their little fake accounts to do it. Or they send out their little ex-boyfriends to do it. Right? And they put them in the comments to whoop them up and tell them to keep going, keep going, keep going, because they know exactly what they want out of this. Right? You know, me forget that when me I watch teacher mini film edition. Yeah, I don't think that I was being verbose tonight. I thought I was being very, very straightforward and down to earth, so you can understand exactly what me I say. You understand? I thought that I was being very straightforward, right? But it's a whole heap of us noticing it. A whole heap of us noticing it. And as I said, it escalates whenever it is that 33 times 3 call your name. At that time, it escalates, people. It escalates. Which is why I know that man in the dark don't like it when his name get called too much, because this is what results. Yes. First of all, there's the jealousy, because there are people whose name want to be called and it not getting called. Then your name get called, and then it's about new targets. You understand? But the people who are targeting you are generally insignificant in the space of things. And emotionally, if you are not sound, you would consider it to be a stress. But you guys don't know. HTK like war. That is what you don't know. And you think that I'm going to back from anything you present, but I won't. I won't. If anything, I'll make content out of it. It will only benefit me. But break me, it won't. You understand? So when you decide to mess around with people who not even see you, no, don't see you, don't normally make you a topic, maybe once or twice, but other than that, you're not on my radar. And you go and you put yourself in the line of fire, just know that it will be worse for you people. It will be. Because if I start to dig and I start to pull files and I start to do my research, which you know I'm damn good at, then you'll be getting it from every side. And as for your little minion, just know I have so many of your family members in my inbox as we speak who are spilling their guts about everything where you're concerned, from your childhood to date. Everything. And it's only because of me being merciful why I don't rinse you. And don't take that as a threat. It's a promise that should the time come, I shall do exactly that. All of us bloggers out here have ammunition. Trust and believe. We do. Things land in our laps that we don't even ask for. But with discernment and tact, we choose the timing of when to release information. But you see, because I know that T-Lady don't care about you, you are just a pawn. That's why I have not made that move. That's why I have not. But some of you really are loose cannons with no ambition. That you can have this one person have on a head so damn soft like porridge. But it's only the broken and the fragmented and the weak that can be manipulated this way. Hungry for love and hungry for attention. Most of them being rejects, being rejected by their own family. Their own mother never want to raise them. Thrown out on their ears because them they too money. And I could say so much more. And because of that, anybody that look at them and go, oh, they will do anything. On a sad set of people we just need to put in a one barrel and roll. So yeah, at first I was like, oh, it's not good to have alliances. You know, people should be independent with their content and da-da-da-da-da. Nah. Now I'm saying let the alliances grow because you're growing yours. Every day another one of you vermin spring up out of cracks to tear down other people. And if the good amongst us decide to let it slide, you will not stop until you bring down somebody who has done you guys absolutely nothing. Know your English grammar who's bothering HTK now. It's not a who, it's a what. It's a thing. It's not a who, right? So no worry your head about that. Just know that this little thing that's trying its to pass its place is being puppeteered by Tea Lady. Just know that. Being puppeteered by Tea Lady. Me, I tell you that. Which is why I tell you that keep poking the tiger, man. And uno I go see. Right? Keep poking the tiger. Anyway, guys, I don't plan to stay long. I only come to say what I have to say. Make sure you like up the live, right? And I will talk to you guys later. Thank you very much for coming to class, right? You know how it goes. I say what I have to say, and then I'm out. All right. Oh, actually, there is something I wanted to talk to you guys about. Let me lighten up the mood a bit because I think I've kind of scared some people. Hold on there. Guys, do you know I was having a discussion, Tentorina one time. Do you know I was having this whole discussion with my husband? I nearly forget to talk to you guys about this, right? And it has to do with the One Love movie, you know, with Rita Marley being behind it, Rita Marley and her kids being behind it and stuff. And we got into a bit of a heated debate because I was like, you know, Rita Marley is so wonderful, the amount of love she has for her husband, the things she put up with, you know, as a female, I was bonding with it. I was like, you know, oh my gosh, she's just whatever. Plus, remember, as a little girl, I was always at Tough Gang Studio. I was amongst these people. So I kind of grew up seeing them in their environment and everything, right? Okay. And then my husband makes this comment that just blows my mind, guys, because I'm like, you're out of order. And him say, you think say Rita was no goody two shoes. You think say Rita was a nice person. And I'm like, what? How dare you? This woman has been through so much. Bob Marley cheated on her with multiple women, had several outside kids. And then he kind of gave me a breakdown that I never thought about. But guys, look on this, right? I want to look on something. I'm going to share something with you. Now, I got it long. Hold on. Because when he showed me this, I was like, oh my God. What? How have I missed this? Now, I'm very much aware of the fact that Rita, when she first married Bob, had hold on one second. When she first married Bob, Rita had been pregnant via somebody else, okay? And when that happened, he still married her, don't it? He did still marry her. So when that happened, I was like, okay, him still marry her. So, he's a good man. He took her with another child. Um, but then it remind me of this. So take a look at this, guys. Take a look at this. So this is a website where basically we started to go through all of Bob and Rita's kids, okay? Now we are aware that Rita was pregnant before they got married, right? By another man that's not Bob Marley. During this process, she gave birth to, of course, Sharon Marley. So we're going to go in chronological order. Sharon Marley is the first child. Yeah? Sharon Marley is the first child. So Sharon Marley was adopted by Bob. And then after Sharon Marley was adopted by Bob, then came their first joint effort for, having a family where they had Sidella. She was next. And then after Sidella, so this is Bob and Rita's blood child. Yes, sexy bee. A bun for bun. Well, I know, I never realized, to be honest. It just kind of went over my head. And it just goes to show you how she take the One Love movie and she cover our eyes completely. Because the way the One Love movie was produced, it was like Rita was the perfect female. You understand? So anyway, then came Ziggy Marley, yeah, at 55 here in this picture. And then after Ziggy Marley came Robbie Marley, 51. This is, of course, an outside child, okay? Robbie Marley is an outside child, so this is not Rita's son, okay? And then you had Rohan Marley, also not Rita's son. So this are two Ghana bueno. And Rita picked this, And then now you have Stephen Marley. That is Rita's son. Okay. So this is her next child, right? With her husband. Then you had Karen Marley. This is not Rita Pitney neither. Right? Then you had this lady here, Stephanie Marley. Now, people, I know Stephanie. Notice that Stephanie's age group is very close to mine. When I was a little girl running up and down at Tough Gang, Stephanie was also running up and down at Tough Gang. I remember this girl, Stephanie Marley. And people, Stephanie Marley is not Bob's child, but Rita's child. You hear me? This is Rita's child. Rita's child. So after Stephanie came Julian, somebody else picked me this again with Bob. Then Kimani, somebody else picked me this again with Bob. Then Damien. Now Damien Marley is, of course, Cindy Breakspear's son. Cindy Breakspear's son is the baby. He is the last one of Bob's children that we know of. That we know of, So what I'm picking up from this is that Rita was busy doing the do. Rita was busy doing it. Rita was no innocent. You understand? All this time, I forgot about Stephanie because I saw Stephanie. She was my age group. The two of us even used to ramp together out night, open lot, the open era, Hope Road. You understand me? So I'm looking at it like this must be Bob's child, right? but I know, I know fear, I know fear Pitney. And yet, even so, after that, they were still very much together. You understand? They were still very much together. Right up until Cindy was the last straw. And it's interesting how in that film, remember, Cindy was portrayed in the film, you know. You saw Cindy Breakspear, you saw her get her sash, you saw her in the background, although she was mute. That character was mute for the whole film. She never once said a word. You understand? That character was mute for the whole film. So they gave her no personality, but they showed her as some kind of groupie in the background, always just lingering. And then they showed her with the sash. So she gave birth to Junior Gong. But what I'm going to say is that the way it was done almost made it look like this particular person was such a bugbear. And yet, all the time that passed in between, there was no mention of Rita having Stephanie. Open relationship. That's it, Shirley. Open relationship. There was no mention in that film of Stephanie's birth. We saw there was a time when Rita was like almost missing. And he was busy all over the place, touring and whatever. But then she turned up again when the cancer became evident. But all I'm saying is that, don't you think it's a very unfair picture to paint Cindy Breakspear as this homewrecker type? Because that's what happened. And to give her absolutely no recognition, no voice, other than just her sash and the fact that she was a groupie. And then to paint Rita as this persevering, devoted wife. When in fact, Rita was busy having her cake and eating it too. Obviously not to the degree of Bob Marley, right? There's no comparison, okay? There's no comparison. Bob was just, he was off the hook wild, right? Then Monday was just all over the place. But just look at it. All right. Let me see if I can test my graduates and how clever you guys are. Graduates, where is, and don't nobody no Google nothing, you know, want uno talk from uno head, wanna think uno know. Is Rita Marley Jamaican? Put yes or no in the chat. Is Rita Marley Jamaican? Put yes or no in the chat. Good. Good. Yes. You're right. Rita is from Cuba. She was born in Santiago, Cuba. Rita is a Black Latina. She is not Jamaican at all. Her parents are, but she was born in Cuba, correct. You see how many I graduate them bright? Yes. Her parents are Jamaican. She was born in Santiago, Cuba. She's not from Haiti. She was born in Santiago, Cuba. And she came to Jamaica as a little girl. And during that time, that This is what you call one love. Yes. And then she basically lived in Jamaica for most of her youthful years. So she is not Jamaican. She's Cuban. So when you really think about it, when she used to call herself the queen of reggae, or at least that's what they used to refer to her as the queen of reggae. So the queen of reggae was not even Jamaican. The queen of reggae was Cuban, right? And she got that title purely on the presence of her husband, the popularity and the fame of her husband. I'm not saying that she didn't support and she didn't love Bob, because I know she did. But when I listened to the interview that I posted on my page, and she was talking about the fact that every outside child Bob had to be presented to her for her to give that child the thumbs up. That put a little thing in my head like, what? So how many of those children did you deny? The fact that you had to give a thumbs up on all of the children to approve them, to say that this was Bob's child, how many of those children that came forward did you say was not his child, when in fact they may very well have been? That is something to think about. And also, if that's the case, there may be other children out there who are children of Bob's, who's not even allowed to speak about it. Of course, more could be out there, real talk. More could be out there. Because it's not like she was using genetics to say, come, let me do a DNA test on you. She just I look on the pic of them and I say yes or no. Hmm? She had to, if you listen, just go click on the link. She had to approve. I can't play it on here because it's on another YouTube channel. I don't want to get striked. But I'm saying to you, in that interview, when it was all about Rita, and Rita was talking, Rita said, listen, every one of those outside children, Bob had to bring that outside child to me. And I had to approve that child. So just by looking, so, she accepted all of them. Oh, you think? I think if some were not accepted, you would never know. I think you'd never know. This is a woman that basically did not have a problem working alongside other women that Bob was seeing in order to make things happen in the household. I don't know of any woman that has that kind of mettle and that kind of strength without showing any kind of amount of jealousy or possessiveness, unless they were quite comfortable with them extra man, and therefore it was no big deal. I don't know. It's odd to me to imagine that when Bob had his cancer, that these women came together, both Cindy and her, moved in together for a time to look after him, because at that time it was not about, did you listen to Cindy Breakspear's interview? Click on my page again on Facebook. Cindy Breakspear blatantly says it, that they moved in together. And when they moved in together, they looked after Bob in his last moments. Yeah? No, sir. She was her own DNA. Whatever she said, that was fine now. There might be more out there. I think so. She invited Cindy to come and help take care of him when he was sick. Yeah. Yeah, she did. Now, you tell me if is that normal? It isn't. It's not normal. It's not normal. You know, Sister Rita make out a difference. It's either that, or do you think for a minute that probably Cindy Breakspear would have been the woman that he may have left Rita for had he not developed an illness? because sometimes the way you see how Cindy behaves as though it is about her, the way she speaks, like they were so in love. And she was the last before he passed that we know of anyway. You understand? It makes you wonder if that's the reason why Rita disliked the whole idea of her and Cindy being compared as the last two queens for Bob. And why it is that Rita's children wants to put their mother on more of a pedestal. The only one that really mixes with Cindy's son is Stephen. Stephen and Cindy's son are quite close. But the rest of them, it's not so hunky-dory, you know? I still think that Cindy has always been a bit barefaced with their relationship. Well, yes, and I think that came across in the movie, because in the movie, you often saw Rita was there talking to Bob, and Cindy would just come out and just loiter in the background. She was just there hanging around like a bad smell. You know, she was just there. And I think that's the impression they wanted the public to have, that she's there basically, you know, just looking on and making Rita feel awkward and uncomfortable because she was not making her presence less felt. So it's obvious that she was barefaced with it, and she probably didn't see Rita as no competition. Remember, you know, our Ready Bug, long hair and all these things, you know how it is in Jamaica in those days, and even now, where Browning is always the one that them put on pedestal, right? So, you know, she probably thought that she was the it. So Rita was no competition. You have some woman out there where take people man with bare face like that. You understand? He didn't want to divorce Rita. She asked for a divorce. Yeah. Bob Marley was, Rowena, I'm not going to say that one. Upon his death, she ensured that all his children who could produce their birth certificates were taken care of through a trust company. I know that as fact. That's true. That is true. And she has subsequently said that nobody else can come forward. She has said that absolutely nobody else can come forward. So that's that really. Whoever is accepted, and whoever has not been accepted, if there has been any that's not been accepted, then tough for them. They will not get a part of the legacy. That will be it. You know, according to that list that we have seen. Marcia Griffiths was Bob True Love. Yes, there has been a story. There has been a rumor there about Marcia Griffiths. But what I can tell you, based on what I observed, I was only a little girl, but what I observed, Marcia Griffiths and Rita were the best of friends. So I don't know. I don't know. I have never been able to come to grips with that whole dynamic of Rastafarianism, where Rasta men feel like polygamous relationships are okay. And, you know, I've never really understood it, but I did observe it many times where there were Rasta men amongst them that had more than one queen, right? And these queens were like sisters, you know, working together, cooking together, and all of these things. You understand? I know that I met a Rasta man who was what you call Naya Bingi, the one who wrap up their head and so. And he lived in a yard, and in that yard he had about 3 different women, and they all had their little part of the house, either like a tenement yard, but they all had their different parts. And then he had his part, right? And him have whichever one him feel like at given times. I don't believe they did the whole menage a trois thing, but I think they one at a time kind of thing. You understand? And they live like that quite happily. No, me at all. I can't do that something there. You understand? Dead man tell no tales. I tell you, a story of 3 sides are true. A story of 3 sides, right? But I just found it really interesting how the movie glossed over the fact that Rita actually did get pregnant before, you know, before Cindy had her child, and yet the movie was able to focus on Cindy um, being, Cindy Breakspear, beauty queen or whatever, Miss Worlds, and focusing on that, focusing on her as some kind of groupie, focusing on her as being more or less interfering in their relationship because she was always hanging around. And yet no mention really of the fact that Rita was no innocent. I'm not saying that I blame her, because given the fact that the man literally bring about 4 or 5 different belly con gear, I don't really blame her. But one would question in these modern times, why didn't you leave? Why stay and go through all of that? But remember, this is a Rastafarian community, and she always knew that he believed in polygamous relationships. So maybe she just accepted it. But I'm pretty certain that Rastafarian women were not meant to take more than one man. So that makes her a little bit of a rebel, if you ask me. It would have been nice if they had touched on it. But the movie, that's why again, which one of the people cha again that said that movie. What name again? I miss Vegas. Vegas said that the movie was all about celebrating Rita. And I think there's some truth in that. The movie made Rita look like she was this stalwart, amazing, committed and devoted wife that, endured so much and stuff. But why gloss that part over? That part would have definitely given some truth. I think she had another child after Bob's death. Nope. It wasn't after Bob's death, because that child was before Junior Gong came into the world. So no, it wasn't before. No, it wasn't after Bob's death. I don't know about that. That child is before Junior Gong. I just showed that. Right? That's why Cindy was so upset. Yeah, I think so. That's the best way to text somebody, man. Be their best friend. No, I'm afraid I would know. I'm afraid I know. My God, Sammy, what a comment. No, sir. No, no, no. maybe that's what Cindy was all about. But I think it was, at the end of the day, there's also talk about the fact that it was about securing his assets, that all of them saw that he was about to leave behind a legacy, and they made sure that they planted themselves firmly so that they would not lose touch with that legacy, and that they would reap the rewards. Because if the man is dying of cancer, then hello, who stands to gain? The wife and the kids. The wife and the kids. So why should they leave, if you think about it? He would have had, they would have lost out on all the wealth. So I think that, that part of it is not going to be discussed, but we all know that money talk and bullshit walk, right? Anyway, guys, as soon as I get some just a chit chat, we don't know. I just wanted to go into that before I went, because I knew I wanted to share something extra and apart. I didn't want my life to be all about these negative little alliances that are popping up all over social media just to cause problem and wreak havoc. But to speak also about what I observed. It's a loose connection, really, when you think about it. It is about alliances. It's an alliances of, side chick and wifey. Yeah. So I just wanted to mention that. Keishi had that child when she and Bob part, and he went back for her and adopted the child. Yeah, but it's still sure say, because hello, lots of us separate from our partners, but we don't necessarily go and take a whole man and get a whole baby. You know what I'm saying? I think some came forward but wasn't accepted. I think so, Jenny. I genuinely think so. I think so, definitely. I think some came forward and were not accepted at all, and probably carrying bare feelings for not being a part of the Marley clan. But it is what it is. Anyway, guys, love you and leave you. Bye-bye. Talk to you guys later. All right. Like up the live before you guys go. And I hope you enjoyed class. Bye bye.